Hi everyone, it's Jamie here. Today I want to talk to you guys about how you can identify your success process. And this is such an interesting topic because something that I've noticed in my clients and also in myself as well is that the reason why so many of us haven't achieved the level of success we desire is because there's this idea that we have of who we are, how we perceive ourselves to be, and the quality, the aspects of who we are that we're meant to embody, the habits and the executions and the things that we have to do in a specific process and flow that will achieve the level of results that we desire. And oftentimes, who we perceive ourselves to be and the things that have to take place, they're not congruent, because in order to be successful, you have to be more of who you are, embody all of who you are. And when you're not fully doing that yet, then you're going to be limited in the amount of success that you're calling in. And so this is just such an interesting phenomenon that I really wanted to discuss with you. So let's use me as an example, okay? I naturally am a very, who I am as a person, I'm very assertive, I'm very direct, I tell it how it is, I have a very strong, fiery energy. And I go after things. When it comes to fight or flight, I'm very fight. And when something scares me, I go after it. I'm like, oh my God, there's something to be scared of. It's the next thing to tackle. Let's do this, right? And so I was really so I always thought that, that was like who I am. And so I have to bring that quality of what comes to me naturally into my business. And I was so confused as to why my business wasn't successful when I took the approach of who I am into the picture. And part of that did include factors like worthiness and being open to receive and, letting go of attachments that I've had about my money story and what I'm allowed to have. But aside from that, it was also the fact that who I thought I was actually limiting, because I wasn't letting in other aspects of myself that were necessary components for that next step and that next stage in my life. And so like I saw all these people that would take more of a passive approach, right? And I would feel into their energy, and they just seemed very earthy and very grounded and very feminine and very soft and very nurturing. And I was like, you know what? That's not who I am. So I was like, it doesn't make sense to embody that. And yet I was getting signs of trying to, from the universe to incorporate those things. And I didn't do it because I was like, well, that shit isn't going to work. It doesn't resonate with me. And the idea that it didn't resonate with me, I used that as a reason to not get started. But here's the thing. Okay, if you keep using the approach that does resonate with you and it's not working, be open and be willing. I encourage you to experiment, because sometimes the reason why something doesn't resonate with you is because there are aspects of yourselves that you rejected, and so you're not open to it. But it isn't until you try it on, kind of like clothes. You may think that on the rack it's not going to look good on you, but once you try it on, you're like, oh my God, like it's actually really good. I love the way it looks on me. Because it may be that once you try it on, you're like, you know what, my intuition was spot on. I shouldn't, it doesn't work for me. And that's okay. But the key to getting where you want to be is to really explore and experiment. If you want to get somewhere, you're not going to get somewhere by sitting down. Like right now, I'm at the park. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. But let's just say I decided I wanted to go to the mall, but I didn't know how to get there. If all I did was sit where I am right now, I'm not going to magically end up at the mall, right? So, even if you don't know which direction you're going, even if you're not sure or you feel like you're going the wrong way, if you actually just get started with the momentum, you'll be able to repivot, renavigate. The universe will support you and guide you. So it's really about just opening yourself up to that possibility. And so for me, looking back now at my life, at the things that have worked for me, I was really surprised. Like, wow, it's actually taking a passive approach that did work for me. Because when you have this dominant quality in you, you need to balance it out. So the elements that don't resonate with who you are may be the exact thing that you need to call in the success that you desire. And so, I want you to look at the aspect of your life where you're successful. You can choose any aspect of your life. This can be relationship, a business, whatever it is. And I want you to look at, what is your energy? What state are you in? What is your state of being? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? What are your beliefs? What do you do? What are your habits? How do you navigate that realm? How do you interact with other people, and what is the relationship you have with yourself in that situation? Okay, because there's going to be a startling contrast in that successful environment versus the environment where you're not thriving. And notice how I use the word not thriving instead of failing. Not that there's anything wrong with failing, but I want to focus the energy right now in where it's most potent, where you want the energy to be. And so I personally recommend that as you're doing this, you focus on what has worked for you and focusing on that area first, rather than focusing on how you perceive yourself to be, how you identify yourself as, the qualities that haven't worked for you, even though those that information is telling, because that can put you in this fixed idea, and you want to expand beyond that. With that said, I'm going to share with you aspects of who I am, what hasn't worked for me, and my history, just so that you get a fuller picture of who I am. And so that, like, when I start introducing other areas of me identifying my success process, it makes sense for you. So being this direct person, I grew up, and in my career, I decided, okay, now it's time to get a 9-to-5 job. Like, I didn't just jump out into the world and think, what, I'm going to become an entrepreneur. I didn't even know that world was even out there. And so I couldn't, for the life of me, be successful at any 9-to-5 job. I'm talking retail stores, office positions, call centers, foster care agencies, libraries, working for the city. It was insane to me. And I'm a highly intelligent person. I am versatile, I'm hardworking, but it just wasn't a compatible fit. And as a mindset coach and energy healer now with my own business, it's so fascinating because I see all of these life coaches say, it was scary, but I left my successful high 6-figure 9-to-5 corporate job to live my dreams. And I was over here like, wow, really? Like, I barely survived 6 months before I inevitably got fired. And then I was on unemployment for a year until it ran out. And then I just did the same dance over and over again for years on end until I became an independent contractor. And I was told as a freelancer, that is not job security. And I was getting booked out for the next 2 to 3 years. I've been a product specialist for Samsung and a spokesmodel for Panasonic and all of these amazing things. I've traveled for work. I've worked tons of trade shows. And they really expect you to figure things out on the fly. And it was amazing how, like, in a 9-to-5 setting, I wasn't able to retain information. And yet when I was just thrown a flurry of, you need to know 700 pages, like 200 of these products within 3 weeks, it was so easy. It came to me so naturally, right? And so that led me to believe, well, yeah, it's because I'm so hardworking, because I'm so assertive and I'm so strong-willed, I'm going to make this happen. I didn't realize at the time it was actually my success process, which was to be passive, which was to be in a state of receiving, to lean back, that actually led me to my success. Because that's why I was so good at learning this material so quickly, was I was receiving, I was absorbing, I was just sucking it all in. It's not because I was just, do. I was just allowing it to assimilate and integrate with me. And so that was really interesting. And then when I think about, the other steps that made me successful in this business, there were Facebook groups and other people. And there would be these castings and I'm told like, hey, we're looking for a person that has these qualities. And I would respond. I literally waited for signs from the universe. I opened myself up. I trusted, and then they all showed up. And that's why I went in my coaching business, just putting myself out there and saying, hey, I'm offering these services. It didn't work. And I was like, why not? Because I was doing, and I wasn't doing enough receiving, assimilating, trusting, absorbing, looking from signs from the universe. So I'm a classic example of someone who thinks that the best approach for me is assertive because it aligns with my personality, when the truth is I had to balance that out by implementing aspects that didn't resonate with me. They were foreign to me, and that's why I needed to integrate with that. And the thing is, we are all made up with a combination of assertive energy and passive receiving energy. And so it doesn't make sense to actually say that we're one more than we're one and not the other. That's like rejecting breathing, and you're like, I'm an inhaler, not an exhaler. I mean, I prefer exhaling more than inhaling, but I still do both things. And in order to have that synergy, to have that flow, I need both. And it's the same thing when it comes to being successful, okay? And so it wasn't until I started looking at, my life and saying, okay, what is working for me? I was like, well, being an independent contractor, taking the unconventional, untraditional approach, being in an environment that required me to trust myself, being in an environment that is different from everyone else, that allows me to work in a fast-paced environment, being in an environment that activated my intuition, being in an environment that allowed me to just be very, very quick, go with the flow, and to respond to things, and look for signs from the universe. This is what worked really well for me. And so implementing that into my business and identifying that as, okay, Jamie, this is your success flow. That's saying, okay, how can I start dialoguing? I started dialoguing with the universe. Okay, I need signs from you. I need ways to communicate. And then I started getting signs from the universe. If you want to get signs from the universe, tell the universe if you're meant to do something, you want to see purple shoes, right? The visual manifestation hasn't worked for me. My best friend works really well with just putting a song on shuffle. That didn't work for me, but for me, looking at messages that show up, looking for things that Google recommends for me, comments from Facebook, waking up first thing in the morning and channeling that information. These are signs from the universe that work for me. That's me trusting in myself, right? Absorbing, integrating, responding to things, and me being assertive, me saying, okay, universe, these are all the things that I'm interested in, and then just waiting and trusting and practicing patience. These are the things that helped me with my identifying my success flow, is implement patience. So I started gardening. That required me to practice patience, and then that became a catalyst in other areas of my life. Having a dialogue with the universe, learning to trust, and identifying, I know that there are certain people in my life that are that's really tapped into the universe, and they're the ones that really give me signs from the universe. Even if I don't tell them something, if I consciously know, okay, here are some things that I'm interested in getting some guidance around, they are basically the vessel through which the universe speaks through me. We all have these guides. Identify where yours lie, okay? And really, one of the things that really helped me is identifying, are you more passive or are you more active energy? Okay, and are you dominant in one area more than the other? And has that flow been working for you? If in that case, expand it. Or do you feel like you need to balance it out with the opposite energy that you don't resonate with, because that is the other end that you need to really get things rolling? Do you need to be more in your state of being? Or do you need to start doing things? Whatever that is, I want you to identify with it. I want you to write down what that is, and then play and experiment with those different elements to see what does work for you, what doesn't, and look for those correlations in areas of your life that are successful. And you'll realize, for me, I was like, wow, there's actually a lot of passive receiving energy in this environment where I thought I was successful because I was fire and I was responsive, and response to me feels very active. But in order to respond, I have to be open. I have to receive in order to have something to respond to. You get what I'm saying? So this was a really insightful realization for me. And I encourage you to explore this in your life. See how it shows up for you. Comment below. Let me know. As a way to stay accountable, go ahead and write down, do you think that you're more active or passive? And do you feel that you would benefit from balancing that out by inviting in some of the opposite energy or more of the same energy? Whichever your answer is, come up with 3 to 5 ways that you can incorporate that, and or look at areas of your life where you've been successful and ask yourself, have you been more passive or have you been more active? What state of being were you in? What thoughts did you have? What feelings did you embody? And see how you can incorporate those aspects into areas of your life that you're looking to expand more on, okay? I would love to hear your comments, to have interaction. If this resonates with you, please share this with your loved ones. It's a great way to be accountable. And subscribe to my page, and I'll see you all soon. Bye!